Newcastle is a traditional royal stopover. It's the third time the Queen and Duke of Edinburgh have visited, and this morning there was a waterborne welcome. Thousands have lined the streets by the $13 million foreshore development to watch the Queen and Prince Philip come ashore to the spot where Lieutenant John Shortland had landed 191 years ago. While the Queen was met by Premier Nick Greiner, an Aboriginal protest was making its way to the city centre. The motorcade took the royal couple to Customs House to open the foreshore development designed to boost tourism in a coal and steel town feeling an economic low. Some succumbed to the excitement, while the Aboriginal protesters were moved on by police. And on cue, after 30 years of inaction, the restored time ball dropped at the top of Customs Tower, a timekeeping device ship's captains would use to adjust their chronometers. And the crowds that had waited patiently for a royal walkabout weren't disappointed. This afternoon she walked through a rainforest in the Industrial Cities Museum, and one little girl was determined to make that extra effort to give her posy to the Queen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got anyone from Newcastle here? West Wallsend is flannels and motorbikes. Bar Beach is a surfing life. Cooks Hill, they're being arty, and East End party. Izzo, Caro, lock your doors, or if you're lucky, pull down your drawers. Hamo's cosmopolitan. Throsby Creek looks great, but I'd skip the swim. He got out at Civic Station, walked across the lines. He saw the big penis, said, "Where the fuck am I?" Oh, Newcastle, whoa. Newcastle, whoa, yeah, Newcastle, whoa, it's so beautiful, my dear, and they can bury me here. Doe show, bucks, night, pub crawls in a double-decker, and dickheads in a fight. Probably over someone's hair. Got the JR is rocking hard with black t-shirts and mini skirts. Jump club, Benoit's. Can we get a cab? Cause my feet hurt. With K-San on the radio and orange shit in the sky, the tourist grabbed his road map, said, "Where the fuck am I?" Oh, Newcastle. Yeah, Newcastle, it's so beautiful, my dear, they can bury me here. Well, it's time to head, it's getting ugly. Shit-faced people with the munchies migrate to Macca's or Hamburger Haven for beer and mull and egg and bacon, and the bogey hole for skinny dipping. Strzelecki, car park kissing. Some are sightseeing, some I better at John Hunter 9 months later. With 30,000 people screaming, "Go the Knights!" The footballer looked around him, said, "Where the fuck am I?" Oh, Newcastle. Yeah, Newcastle. Yeah, Newcastle. It's so beautiful. Who's been to the beaches on a Sunday night? Newcastle. And who's dreamed London Bridge, see the city lights at night. Newcastle. Cause I've been to Nobby's to watch the dawn and nearly pissed my pants from a ship's foghorn. Newcastle. Yeah, Newcastle. Yeah, Newcastle. Yeah, Newcastle. 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 Whoa.
Newcastle Permanent Building Society. Make it grow with the people you know.
This is called the Newcastle Song! Because up in Newcastle they have very strange mating habits. All the young women of Newcastle walk down the main street, which is called Hunter Street, for reasons that will become obvious later on in the song. All the young men of Newcastle drive down Hunter Street in their hot FJ Holdens with chrome-plated grease nipples and double reverse overhead twin-cam door handles. Down Hunter Street, which is called Hunter Street for reasons that are becoming rapidly more and more obvious. In fact, they've put in a few pot plants lately and they call part of it the Hunter Street Mall, for reasons that will become obvious later on in the song. And all the young fellas drive down Hunter Street, sitting 8 abreast in the front seat, and they lean out the window and say real cool things to the Sheilas on the footpath, like, "G'day. Where you going? You do it?" And every now and then, of course, one of the young ladies thinks to herself, what she thinks. Don't you ever let a chance go by, oh Lord, don't you ever let a chance go by. Don't you ever let a chance go by, oh Lord, don't you ever let a chance go by. Anyway, there was this mob of blokes driving down Hunter Street in the front seat of the hot FJ with chrome-plated grease nipples and twin overhead foxtails. And the coolest of them all, who got to sit near the window, was young Normie. They pulled up outside the Parthenon Milk Bar. All of you who've been to Newcastle probably all had a thick shake at the Parthenon Milk Bar. It's right next door to the Chop Meow Chinese restaurant. And standing outside the Parthenon was this beautiful looking Sheila. "Oh! Oh!" said young Normie, who'd come top in his class in English. "Oh!" he said. So he leaned out the window and he said real suave like, he said, "G'day. Where you going? Do you do it?" And she smiled at him, and just as she was about to say, jeez, this 9-foot-tall Hell's Angel came out of the Parthenon Milk Bar. And Normie's mate said, "Norm!" Now, Norm was no fool. He knew straight away who they were talking to. They said, Norm, it's her boyfriend, Norm." He said, "Oh, is his name Norm too?" And they said, "No, stupid!" And the boyfriend came and looked at Norm, and Norm looked at the boyfriend, and The boyfriend said, "What do you think you're doing, mate?" And quick as a flash, Norm said, "What do you think you're doing?" The boyfriend looked at Norm and said, "Oh, what are you?" Norm said, "What are you?" Bloke on the footpath said, "You want to go, do you, mate, eh?" Norm said, "Yeah, you want to go, mate." Bloke on the footpath said, "Yeah, I'll have a go." Norm said, "Do you know who you're picking?" The bloke on the footpath said, "No, who am I picking?" Norm said, "You find out, mate." The bloke on the footpath said, "Come on, get out here and have a go." Norm said, "No, get in here and have a go." The bloke on the footpath said, "What's wrong with out here?" Norm said, "What's wrong with in here?" And all of a sudden there was a break in the traffic. And as any young Newcastle lad knows, when you're getting monstered by a 9-foot-tall Hell's Angel, and there's a break in the traffic, don't you ever let a chance go by. Oh Lord, don't you ever let a chance go by. Don't you ever let a chance go by. Oh Lord, don't you ever let a chance go by. Don't you ever let a chance go by. Oh Lord, don't you ever let a chance go by. Don't you ever let a chance go by. Oh Lord, don't you ever let a chance go by. Ooh, I've got the frap all caught up. It's alright, it's fixed up now. Oh, the other bit's dropped off. If I'm not having trouble with me frap, I'm having trouble with the other bit. It's shocking. Anyway, young Norm, now we get on to the dirty bit, because this is only going on the album for the dirty people to buy. Anyway, young Norm had a stepbrother called Fred. There was another stepbrother also called Ron. Ron used to work out at United Urinals. That's a real success story in Newcastle, United Urinals. The bloke that started the firm off, well, in 1946, he had nothing but a sheet of galvanised iron in his imagination. And, well, nowadays it's one of the biggest producers in the country. I guess you've all seen the P26. But Ron wasn't around when the song was written, so he didn't really get into it. But there were actually two stepbrothers, neither of whom were very handsome. They were young Cinder Fred's stepbrothers. They called him Cinder Fred because he worked at the coke ovens at the BHP. He used to come home all filthy dirty. Anyhow, young Cinder Fred's two ugly stepbrothers were really down on him this night, and they wouldn't let him go to the dance at the Palace. And he was dying to go to the dance at the Palace because the star of the evening was... Now, in the studio here, we're actually saying, but we can't say on the record, so only the people actually at this concert tonight will know that it's really instead of... This is for legal reasons, because has threatened to sue if we mention her name on the record. For reasons that'll become obvious later on in the song. And he was sitting sadly at home by the flickering light of the television set, when all at once there was a blinding flash and a little voice said, "Fred, it's me, your fairy modmother." And with one blow of her magic wand, Cinder Fred's fairy modmother instantly transformed him into a pumpkin. Well, now he could go to the dance at the Palace, of course, because now he looked like all the other people that go to the dance at the Palace. So off he went and he met, and they danced together all night. It was really love at first sight, you know. He knew all about this bit. He had to get home by 12 o'clock or he'd turn back into his own repulsive self. And he thought, oh, geez, he's a very religious young fella. Oh, geez, if I don't by 10:30, I'll give the game away. And so we met at the dance at the Palace, and they danced together all night, you know. They did the two-step. And at 10 o'clock, the dog watch whistle went at the BHP. Young Cinder Fred realised that he had to get off to keep the wheels of industry turning. So he ran down the steps of the Palace, both of them. And as he was going, he dropped one of his size 8 steel cap regulation issue BHP safety boots. And picked up the size 8 steel cap regulation issue BHP safety boot and went over to the BHP with it and walked into the blast furnace department and said, "I will give myself to the man who fits this safety boot." The whole blast furnace department lived happily ever after. So now you know why it's not everything in life to have a hot FJ Holden with chrome-plated grease nipples and double reverse overhead twin-cam foxtails. Now you know why we're referring to as instead of. Now you know why it says in letters of gold 4 feet high on the walls of the blast furnace department at the BHP in Newcastle. Don't you ever let a chance go by, oh Lord, don't you ever let a chance go by. Don't you ever let a chance go by, oh Lord, don't you ever let a chance go by. Don't you ever let a chance go by. Don't you ever let a chance go by. Don't you ever let a chance go by, oh Lord, don't you ever let a chance go by.
There's a battle ahead, many battles are lost, but you never see the end of the road while you're traveling with me. Hey now, don't dream it's over. Hey now, when the world comes in, they come to build a wall between us. We know they won't win. Now I'm towing my car. There's a hole in the roof. My possessions are skies. So hard when everything just runs against me. Jealous words turn into unloving friends. Want someone, please understand. Want someone, lend me a helping hand. Time is up to do the time that's left undone. It's time to grab my hat, grab my coat. I gotta load my gun. Silly things always are the ones that turn out once. And it seems the ones who love you always hurt you the most. Want someone, please understand. Want someone, lend me a helping hand. Want someone, please take the time to think. Your actions and words, they don't always say what they Since I was a child, I used to dream of many things. Superstars, the bizarre, king